Trying to figure out how fast your metabolism is? Watch this.
Our next caller is Scott from New Jersey.
Scott, what's happening? How can we help you?
Scott.
Hey guys, how you going? How's it going? Thanks for having my question. I really appreciate it.
You got it.
So currently I'm in phase 2 of MAPS OCR, and the workout's going great, but I want to make sure that I'm hitting the right amount of calories. And so my question for you is, I went online and I used a BMR calculator to figure out where I should start. And I kind of came up with a number of like 2,200 calories. And so I tracked those on an app, but I also use my watch to track all my activity levels. And that always, by the end of the day, could, depending on what exercises I do, could add on like 900, 800 more calories. So my question is, what calories do I eat? Do I eat the calories, the 2,200, or do I take into account all the activities I'm doing?
Yeah.
And to make sure that I'm like maintaining my muscle or even building muscle.
This is the drawback of all these tools right here.
Yeah.
Is what happens to somebody who's trying to, do this for the first time, and they've got referred to try, put your food in here and then get this calorie counter here, and or go check out this BMR thing online. Like the best way to do this is to carve out a week or two of you consistently eating X amount of calories. And you can use these tools to give you a starting point on where maybe you're going to do this X amount of calories, but don't hang on what they're telling you. Pay more attention to, hey, I've consistently eaten 2,400 calories for this last week while I'm doing these consistent activities, and pay attention to how you feel, pay attention to what's going on with your weight. Are you dramatically dropping weight? Are you maintaining weight? Are you gaining weight? And then adjust your calories based off of that and not what these tools are saying. Because that's where they're great for feedback, or another way for you to, just like the scale, same thing. Like this is where the scale can be amazing or can be a pain in the ass. If you allow the scale, like, because our goal, let's say, was weight loss, and then the next day you get on the scale and it went up 1 pound, that doesn't necessarily mean you were doing anything wrong. You could have easily taken a little extra sodium, drank 2 glasses more of water, and had 30 more carbs in that day, and that could make the difference 1 pound on your scale up. Yet you're programming your diet and everything is perfect. So the same thing works with these tools. Is just because your thing says that you burn 1,000 more calories than what you're eating, doesn't necessarily need you next day. You need to bump up a bunch of calories because you're way too low. Pay attention and see how your body moves. Use these tools as just kind of feedback for you to kind of figure it out yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Welcome to the mysterious world of metabolism. It's actually one of the most complex things that we've observed, and it changes and it adapts and it moves. So what Adam said is 100% accurate. There's no precise way of really figuring out how many calories you burned. I mean, there's some really expensive testing that you could do. It would be super inconvenient and it wouldn't make any sense. You'd have to have access to very expensive equipment, and it would be ridiculous. But so it's just watch the scale, watch how you feel. Am I going up in weight? Am I going down in weight? Do I have energy and strength? Do I feel good? That's the best gauge. There really isn't. These things are starting points, but
right. The weird part about it is, if I didn't have any way to track it or track my activities, and I was just trying to eat, like, say, the 2,200 calories, the reason what was throwing me was, like, how do I know I'm still in a calorie surplus or if I'm in a deficit?
Gaining or losing weight.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you won't know based off the tools. You'll know off of being consistent with eating a certain way and consistent with your training, and then allowing that data, that feedback, i.e. the scale, strength, energy, to give you feedback on, okay, am I too high of calories? Am I too low of calories? Am I in a sweet spot? And honestly, for someone like you, I want you to be in that sweet spot. If I really don't want to see the scale go up much, I don't want to see the scale go down much, I want you to feel good. So I'm looking for a calorie range there where you feel like your performance is good. You're not seeing the weight. And by the way, up or down 1 or 2 pounds is
don't look at the daily fluctuations. Look at it per week. And use body fat tests if you want to get even more specific.
If you have access to that.
So you can test your body fat on a weekly basis, look at your weight on a weekly basis, then you can look at lean body mass versus fat mass, and then you have all the information you need to know if you're in a surplus or a deficit.
Yeah, what do you say? Is it you, Adam, who your beginner client that's coming in is usually 2 weeks to like a month of just like tracking all the food intake, and then for the most part, like the weight fluctuations with that. Like it takes at least that amount of time to just get some semblance of like what's going on in terms of a maintenance caloric amount.
That's to me.
The funny part about it was that since I started listening to you guys, and it seemed like, you know what, I think a lot of times you guys are talking about eating more calories to bump up your metabolism. And I know it's been hard for me to even eat 2,000 calories. So this is like, I'm really pushing myself. But the thing that was interesting, I was 178 and I started eating a lot of calories and my weight started coming down.
Well, here's something else.
You've started building muscle, probably.
Yeah, and your metabolism will look. Here's the deal. This is interesting now. If you increase your calories, this is for most people. Just an increase in calories will cause the metabolism to speed up a little bit. Cutting calories will cause it to slow down a little bit. Okay, and this effect varies depending on the person and how long the surplus or deficit is happening. Like there's a range of calories that your current lean body mass will burn. On one end is less efficient, on the other end is more efficient. And the things that determine efficiency have to do with hormones and sleep, and if you're building muscle or not building muscle, and strength and all that stuff. So I would go week by week, look at the scale, and if you have access to a body fat percentage test, take that on a weekly basis, same day, same time, make sure it's very consistent, and then calculate fat mass, lean mass, what's going on, am I going up or am I going down? And then that'll tell you right there. And if you're going up, you're eating more than you're burning. If you're going down, you're eating less than you're burning. That's the bottom line. No matter what that number is, it's telling you if you're eating more or less than you're burning.
Right. So I have access to like a scale that you stand on to do your percent body fat, and I also have the one that you can hold in your hands. Yeah. But I always get different numbers between the two.
Yeah. Whatever you use, so that's electronic impedance. It's one of the least accurate and easiest to get to fluctuate. So pick one, stick to that one. Do it the same time, the same day, and make sure you have the same amount of water and food in your system.
Yeah,
make everything as consistent as possible, so that reading will give you, it'll tell you the trend up or down.
Preferably in the morning on the same day of the week. So every Friday, first thing in the morning before you do anything. Naked or just first thing. That's what you got to do, and that'll give you. And again, whether it says 60% body fat or 6% body fat matters less to me. That's the starting point. Let's adjust your diet to what we think you should be at, and then monitoring it week over week. Is it going up or down percentage or maintaining is how I'm going to adjust. I do not want to get caught up on the actual percentage that it says and worry about how it could be conflicting with another tool. It's like they're all great tools. They really are, but they can get overcomplicated when we hang on the data that it's feeding us, and it's like, we're better off getting an idea from just tracking ourselves and figuring out where, like what Justin was alluding to. That's how I start everybody. Is I use all these tools. I love them. But before we even introduce them, I actually want them to figure out, their way, long form, right, or whatever you want to say, however you want to say that, for lack of a better word, of just figuring out yourself by tracking where your metabolism currently is, and that just takes a little bit of time, first couple weeks.
Tracking steps too with like a pedometer or a Fitbit or anything like that.
Yeah, I use a Garmin watch.
Okay.
Yeah,
but no, I mean everything we said. Data. That's pretty much it. Just track it on a weekly basis. And watch the trends. Don't get caught up so much on the number, but look at the trends. Is it up or down?
Right. So I'll just use one number for my calories and ignore the extra calories added back in from activities.
Yeah. And then based on if you go up or down in body fat and weight and that, then you'll know if you need to add or drop calories.
All right. That sounds
Scott.
awesome.
Thank you.
Right on, Scott.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, it's really, that's the only way to do it. Is to track that way, because there's nothing is going to be precise or exact.
Such individual variances.
And it changes it could change on a daily basis.
Yeah, and these are all different tools. So they're all giving him different feedback, and it can get really confusing if you hang on. Precisely
totally
what it
numbers.
says versus kind of taking all that data and getting like an idea, right? Of like, okay, well, this says that I was probably too low of calories this week. Oh, and my body fat percentage actually went up because I'm probably losing muscle. So okay, let me increase like protein, a little bit of calorie. So you use it like that as a general way to give you an idea if I'm heading in the right direction, getting caught up on the and this, I mean, I used to have a lot of challenges with like my engineer clients. Mm-hmm. Who were like, so they want like,
live and die by the numbers.
Yeah, so. They live and die by the numbers, and they want to be like. And I'd always have to tell them like, it's not. We can't do that because of what you brought up with the metabolism. The metabolism is so complex that it literally can change week to week. It's up and down.
Auto adjusts all the time.
Yeah, and not only that, like let's say we figure out exactly where your metabolism, and then like,
and you just stick to that number for 3 weeks.
Well, and then you have poor sleep for 3 days in a row, like changes. So there's you can't really get too hung up on these tools and marry the data that they're giving you. They're great to have. I don't like I like them. I like having them, but this is where it becomes a problem when you hang on it like that.